Hi DR, happy Friday. I'm Trent Saliba.
And I'm Jordan Peralt.
And this is DR News.
Happy Friday, DR.
This.
And this is DR News.
This week on DR News, we have the High Five Club,
World News,
Teacher Highlight,
a sports recap,
some student interviews,
and another episode of Who Else But Ben.
and Mr. Mora's class went around and did a criminal justice project. And now here's Mitch and Brendan with the High Five Club.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Guerrero, and here are this week's High Five Club members. Gavin Turner is a National Honor Society student and a Best Buddies member. He volunteers at St. Anne's Hospital and a player on the DR soccer team, and applied early decision to UPenn. He is also the captain of his fencing team and has been participating in fencing for 8 years. Gavin plans to study biology and become a general surgeon. Rachel Harris is the National Honor Society secretary and a member of the Leo Club. She is the captain of the DR cross-country team and participates in the DR basketball and spring track, and a student government secretary during her junior year. She was a Dighton youth basketball volunteer and applied early action. She plans to study biology and become a physician's assistant. If you see Rachel or Gavin in the hall, give them a high five. That's this week's High Five Club. I'm Mitch. Back to the studio.
Hey DR, I'm Jordan Peralt.
And I'm Alex Souza. With Halloween quickly approaching, Unpleasant Acres is hosting its annual Haunted Hayride.
If you're looking for 20 minutes of monsters trying to grab you, seeing the iconic scary movie bad guys, or bobbing and weaving through the maze and manor of flame, then this place is for you.
It's located at the Christmas Tree Farms, 187 Pleasant Street in Rehoboth. It's open on Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. from the end of September to the weekend before Halloween.
For more information, contact Joe Marcy.
Now back to the studio.
And here's this week's Teacher Highlight with Evan and Scott.
Hi, I'm Scott George, here with the Portuguese teacher, Mr. Augusto. So, Mr. Augusto, how did you become a teacher?
I went to UMass Dartmouth and I majored in education, minored in English with a concentration in Portuguese, and I became available when I graduated from college, and here I am. 9 years at Coyle Cassidy, then I got my job here.
So, is it true from time to time that you have minor moments of Portuguese?
You know, being Portuguese, the Portuguese temper and stuff like that. So, yeah, once in a while, a stapler gets thrown or something like that. Yeah, we have our moments. Yeah, Portuguese love, I call it.
So, what do you do for your free time?
Well, free time, there is much free time. School, coaching soccer, and then tennis in the spring. So there isn't much free time. But I like to enjoy a lot of family time, spend time with my family, playing a little tennis, a little golf.
Was it true that you were bit by a monkey when you were younger?
Yeah, born in Africa, in Angola, Portuguese colony, back in the 70s. I was at a zoo with my father and my family, and I was kind of teasing the monkey around a little bit, so feeding him peanuts and taking him away. And my father said, "Hey, you can't keep teasing the monkey like that." So I did it one last time. When I went to tease it and pull it away, the peanut, he bit me right in the hand. That's where it is. That explains a lot,
Once again, I'm Scott George, here with Mr. Augusto. Adeus.
Adeus. Prazer.
And here's this week's World News with Matt Ricker.
Hello DR, I'm Matt Ricker, and this is World News. Our first story comes to us from Russia, where apparently on Vladimir Putin's birthday, he was given a rather strange present. This present was a Hercules-themed art show showing how manly Putin was. Apparently later that evening, he was spotted arriving to his birthday dinner on a full-grown grizzly bear while simultaneously lighting off Roman candles and singing the Russian national anthem. Our next and final story comes from us all the way up in Canada in McMaster University in the city of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Apparently they decided to tear up a parking lot that was used for overflow parking to create a habitat for turtles. According to official reports, the parking lot was a barrier between the Dundas Valley Conservation Area and the Coots Paradise. Also, reports are now saying that the person was leading this group was this kid.
I like turtles.
That wraps up World News this week. I'm Matt Ricker, sending it back to whence it came.
Hope you're all ready for some sports, because here's Will and Trenton with the sports recap.
Happy Friday, DR. I'm Trent Saliba here with Will Baresi with last week's sports recap.
To start things off, varsity field hockey has 6 wins and 4 losses so far this season. JV also having 6 wins, but only 1 loss. Next game is today at home versus Fairhaven.
The boys varsity record is 5-5-1, and the girls varsity record is 5-3-3.
The golf team is having an outstanding season with a record of 12 wins and 2 losses.
Boys cross country record stands at 3-1, while the girls cross country record stands at 4-0.
The varsity football team is having a great season with a record of 3-2. Next game is tonight at Old Rochester. Well, that was last week's sports recap. I'm Will Baresi.
I'm Trent Saliba.
Hi, I'm Evan Cardoza.
And I'm Alex Souza, and we're going to inform you about the upcoming event.
On Friday, November 14th, there will be a clam boil at South Seekonk Rod and Gun Club on 61 Reed Street in Rehoboth.
With the raffles, all proceeds from this fundraiser will benefit DR students for Skills USA.
The time for this event is at 6:30 p.m. and tickets are $25 per person. For tickets, call the number on the screen.
This week, Joe and Cody took to the hallways to ask you students some questions.
Hello, DR. I'm Cody Trudell, and I'm here with Joe Marcio bringing you this week's I.O. If you could choose 2 teachers to rap battle, who would they be and why?
I'd have to go with Mr. Antoni and Miss Rose because old school versus new school. Let's see who's got it.
Probably Mr. Antoni and Mr. Pease.
I have Mr. Pease because, he's got the best things in the world, conspiracies-wise,
Mr. Boone and the strong use of vocab.
Mr. O'Gara and Mr. Lovejoy, mainly because science.
Probably Mr. Fife and Mr. Pease because I wouldn't mind seeing Mr. Fife lose.
Mr. Antoni and Mr. Delano.
Miss Hall and Miss Madsen.
Mr. Antoni and Mrs. Rose for sure.
Mr. Harrison and Mr. Antoni.
Miss Kelly and Miss Du Bois.
I'd say Mr. Mora and Miss Du Bois. It'd be pretty funny.
Here's this week's episode of Who Else But Ben.
Oh man, my batteries died. Hey, I hear you need some batteries. Yeah, man. Here you go. Can I keep these? Yeah, they're free of charge.
This week, Mr. Mora's criminal justice class did a real crime scene investigation. Here's more.
Well, as you see here, the criminal justice class, which is a new program for our CTE department, is currently investigating a crime scene investigation. They're lifting evidence right now. They're searching for fingerprints. They found a murder weapon, and they are trying to determine the cause of death, and they're going to try and find the suspect. Stay tuned.
That's all for this week's episode of DR News. I'm Trent Saliba.
And I'm Jordan Peralt.